Hi, everybody. It's Jack Meligan with you again. This is a special Zoom video recording. Um, one of our recordings for attorney fee deferral month. And with me today, I've got one of our associates and a peer of mine, Joe Di Gangi from Easton, PA. Joe, how are you today, man? You're looking
Okay.
good.
Doing good, thanks. Yeah,
High
wartime,
energy.
special event.
Yeah. So, um, attorney fee deferral month. We put out a couple of videos on attorney fee deferrals, and we've had some interesting responses and phone calls from around the country. So this is evidently a topic that lawyers are interested in, and of course, this time of year, it's understandable. We get phone calls and attorneys say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to settle a couple of cases, and I don't need any more income this year. And I've always thought about doing this. And
Yep.
so I'm calling you for some advice. What are my options?" So, in your world, on your end of the country, I mean, I know it's a lot like our end, but um, what are the options with regard to attorney fee deferrals out there? You got the traditional structure.
Right. Traditional
I got a
structure,
phone.
which is pretty well under, out there. Everybody, if you know anything about attorney fee structures, it usually starts with that, an attorney fee structure.
Right.
Tax deferred. Uh, you can defer your current income to any amount with no limitations. There's no ERISA restrictions. You can defer it. You can let it grow tax-free while it's growing, but upon distribution, it is taxable.
So no ERISA rules around
Right.
attorney fee structures or any
Right.
kind of deferral for that matter for attorneys,
Right.
which means that um, lawyer may have a pension and profit sharing plan or some other vehicle set up for his firm and staff. But when it comes to attorney fee deferrals, then it's just the attorney himself, and he doesn't have to. And I know, and I think, isn't it true that you can't actually put a structured fee together for a staff member at a law firm? It's got to be an attorney fee deferral for an attorney, correct?
Right. Right. And that's the beauty about the ERISA. If you already have a 401k or a SEP or whatever you have for qualified plans, doesn't mean you have to do one or the other. We usually like to talk to our clients about blending the two together and finding out the best situation and how to work it the best way. But you don't have to take care of anybody else in the office as far as ERISA restrictions, and you don't have the can't take it out before age 59 and a half without penalty issues. So it's a nice, clean, tax deferred way to get current income out of taxable mode and then let it grow
Right.
tax free before
Right.
distribution. Yeah.
So I had a phone call earlier this morning from an attorney wanting to talk to me about attorney fee structuring, and she asked for an example on a 10-year and then a 15-year payout, and she was not happy with the rate of return. Of course, as we're recording this today, it's November 9th, 2020, and the stock market had a huge liftoff today on the news that we may finally have a COVID vaccine that works. And I noticed that the 10-year rate bumped up in
Yes.
the securities market, which is
Mhm.
something we haven't seen in a while.
Right.
So, um, what do you say to attorneys regarding interest rates and where we're at right now in the cycle, and vis-a-vis attorney fee structures and deferrals?
Well, the first thing I bring up is that, yes, taxes or interest rate, we're in a low interest rate environment, but if you take out X amount of dollars from your taxable income this year and you're in a 40% tax bracket, you you know you got a 40% boost in the value of your attorney fee without having to be taxed yet. And we have all the numbers and we can show everything in detail that shows if you do defer your income from taxable income this year and then you play it out over 10, 15 years in that attorney situation, and then it comes back out and you are taxed at that point, inevitably you're still far better off with the tax deferral, even in a low interest rate tax
So
environment.
you're still making money off the government's money before you give
Yeah.
that money to them at some point down the road.
Yeah, they're going to get their pound of flesh in most cases, but you can defer it and benefit in the process, even in this low interest rate environment. God forbid the rates get back to just normalizing. How much better that'll be.
Yeah. So we've had attorneys over the years that have structured fees to accomplish certain goals. And I remember one of the first lawyers I worked with in this venue, structuring fees, said to me, "Hey, I want to build a portfolio of structures that cover my office overhead
Right.
for the next 5 years. And then I want to layer on for 5 years after that.
Yep.
And then I want to start laying in some lump sums over the next 20 years after that for retirement."
Yep.
And, that was his idea. And he very quickly had structured enough with us that his monthly overhead, including payroll, and he had a substantial office, but every month he had enough money coming in that if there was a dry month, for instance, or a series of them, or if he just decided to go to France and tour the wine country for 3 months, which he did one year,
Nice.
he didn't have to worry about cash flow.
Right.
And then I remember another attorney telling me, "Hey, I want to structure fees so that every year I've got a big enough chunk coming in to fully fund my pension plan for the office, myself and everybody included." And I thought that was an interesting strategy because he deferred the fees, and then he was taking in annual payments, but contributing it to the pension plan and writing it off again.
Yeah, that is an interesting way of doing it. What you talked about at first with the business planning, how great is that when we can talk to attorneys and show them a road for early retirement? If you can cover your expenses and know that you're okay, you want to take an early retirement, you want to take a semi-retirement mode, these are all the options that come with that type of planning. And it's unique to contingency fee compensated professionals, which is attorneys, and there's a few other groups out there. I mean, that's it's amazing.
Yeah, this is something that that only a few professions can take advantage of, and fee deferral is a pretty powerful thing for attorneys. I wish it had a higher rate of return, but speaking of that, there's a fee deferral product out there called Fee Structure Plus. What's your opinion on that?
The Fee Structure Plus, it's an interesting alternative because, again, going back to the first thing we talked about is the attorney fee structure. You normally start thinking about it as a fixed rate, guaranteed payout. The Fee Structure Plus kind of shifts it a little bit. It allows you to have the invested assets in a market-based performance type of account. In other words, an investment account. And you can use your own investment advisor. You can use the program's investment advisor, or you can use one of professionals like us that are helping with that, through our investment advisors. You have that option to do that, but now you can say, all right, I'm gonna go with market-based performances. My recommendation is to have at least a 10-year window before you're gonna probably want to start taking distributions. Give the market a chance to do what it's supposed to do over time.
Nice.
But it's a great option, and there's nothing wrong with doing both. You have some guarantees and you have some flexibility on the upside with an investment type of program.
Right.
Yeah, it's a nice option.
I don't know about your practice, but it seems like to me in mine that my older attorneys, and by this I mean attorneys even older than I am, have been less apt to select another investment-based, variable-based bucket for retirement funds. Many of them have come to me and said, "Hey, I've got enough money in my pension and it's going up and down with the markets. I want something over here that's absolutely guaranteed, and I don't care what the rate of return is. I don't like it that it's low, but I want the safety of knowing I've got built-in payments and they're going to be there."
Options. The ability to give our clients options when we're doing these things is what's important. We don't have a dog in that fight. Let's just figure out what's the best thing, given what they're needing, what they're looking for, based on their age, based on their risk tolerances, do the normal type of planning that we do, and say, Okay, we have some options here. We can do fixed, we can do market-based performance. You know, we can do both. You can still have your pension plan. There's all these options that you can start blending in to this type of program, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Attorneys
really
appreciate
nice.
that.
So
Yeah.
speaking of options, I know that, and we've talked about your program. You've actually come up with a very unusual program, and it's one that we've talked about, and it's not for every attorney. It's definitely not for the older attorneys that I just mentioned that want absolute guarantees with no fluctuation. But I think the program that you've created definitely has an attraction probably to the 30, 40, 50-year-old age group, maybe the 60s,
Yeah,
depending on their
yeah, you can go 60s.
some parameters. But just briefly describe your program.
Okay. It's called the Dynamic Savings and Protection Program. And if you think about the name, Dynamic Savings and Protection, it's a strategy that blends with the other types of programs we just talked about, with either the fixed or the market-based performance type of program. You add this strategy to it, and what it does is it leverages a couple of things. One, it leverages the income, the tax-free income. So when we talked about before, when you do your income deferral, that gets it out of your taxable income. The second stage is deferred while it's growing. And then normally, upon distributions, it's taxable. By adding this strategy, and there's both financial and health underwriting that's involved in it, but assuming everything goes through and everything's good to go, it will allow for a tax-free distribution as opposed to taxable.
Wow.
And it leverages the income, and it has a death benefit on top of that, usually a rather large death benefit on top of that. So it's a very unique strategy. It's only through us that you can get it. It's not something common to everybody else. It's a little bit of a proprietary type of strategy that we created, but it's very effective.
Yeah. So that's the way you just described it. Then it may incorporate a attorney fee structure, for instance.
Oh yeah.
As part of
Yeah,
it.
you would want the underlying underneath that strategy. You want to have the attorney fee structure, either fixed or market-based performance. That's your foundation, and then you put this strategy on top to create that dynamic savings and protection.
Okay,
approach.
dynamic savings and protection. So it's
Right.
it's marrying two strategies, including
Right.
our basic traditional attorney fee structured settlement using an annuity and
Mhm.
and then your idea.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah, it works. It all works together because you want the 3 stages of tax advantages. You want the income deferral, you want the deferred buildup while it's growing, and then that's where most of them end up, right there, because it's taxable upon distribution. You want to add that strategy if possible, if at all possible, to say, okay, now the third tax strategy or the third tax stage is tax-free upon distribution. And nobody else has that but us.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
All right. So we're going to wrap up. Anything you want to add here as we exit?
No, like you said, this is the great time of year to be doing this. Deferring income, and that fourth quarter of the year is usually when it's the biggest need for that, the biggest request for that type of information from us.
Yes.
So we're here and happy to help.
Good. All right, Joe. Well, thanks a million.
Okay.
And we'll get you on again another time on a different topic. This has been
Great.
fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. Good luck, everybody.